Hey folks, this is Kelani. Do you love puzzles? How do you feel about a brain jellyfish mount that can hold up to 4 extra players and it goes faster for everyone who decides to hop on board? If that sounds cool or exciting, or you just want the next super special secret mount, have I got a guide for you. We'll go through really quickly and easily to make sure you can get your hands on this one as soon as possible. As a quick note, you will require a party of 5 for some later stages of the guide, so drag a few friends along for the entire ride and have a blast working your way through it all. An underwater mount is a very nice addition, although not entirely required. Some form of water breathing will be required, however. You're going to need a healthy dollop of patience to get this entire thing done, and a good block of free time as well. Some portions are also timed, so you can't stop halfway through once you've begun, or you'll have to start all over again. If you think you're ready for this, let's have a look at where to begin. To start this mount hunt, you'll need to go to Shattrath and find the NPC called Grifter. He's around 65-69 on your map. You need to buy a talisman of true treasure tracking from this chap, and don't worry, this time around it's actually legit. You need to equip that talisman for pretty much the entire hunt, so be sure to keep it equipped. The first step is to acquire 4 coloured monocles. I'm going to go through these in order of blue, green, yellow, and then red, because that's kind of easiest to hardest, or at least fastest to slowest. To start the blue monocle hunt, you need to find and interact with a letter behind Grifter on his table. It's on the right corner. You probably have to zoom all the way in because there's going to be a lot of players hanging around here for the foreseeable future. When you find the letter, click on it and you should get a little bit of writing, which is mostly gibberish. From this point, there are 6 more letters to find, which must be found in order, and then you have to find the monocle itself. The next letter can be found in High Mountain at 5727. If you have the flight path, flying to Prepfoot makes this very easy. The letter can be found inside one of the tents towards the back. The next letter is in Old Karazhan, the raid. You need to work your way through Kara and past the chess event. After the games room, turn left and head into Medivh's chamber. On one of Medivh's chairs, you can find the next letter. After that, you head down into Razorfen Downs all the way to the end. You can find the letter on a box behind the last boss. This one is pretty easy to find when you know what you're looking for. The next letter is in Mount Hyjal on the top level of Aviana's Shrine. The coordinates are about 44-47. The fastest way to Hyjal is by taking the portal in your capital city. Next up, you need to head to Icecrown. The first dam that you see flying to Icecrown from Dalaran is where you can find the next letter. It's right on the edge of one of the spikes. The coordinates for that are about 70-73. After that, you head on over to Townlong Steps at around 37-63. This letter is on the little bell thing, but it's right on the edge of the platform it's standing on, not on the bell itself. That's the last letter, but you need to make sure that you actually interact with each letter in order, otherwise you won't be able to see the next one. When you've read that last letter, head on over to Berean Tundra. You'll need to be on the highest ring at Caldera, above the Nexus. You should see a little box up there at around 27-27 that contains the blue monocle. The green monocle is a lot more straightforward when compared to some of the others. You need to go into the Skyreach dungeon, which can be found in Spires of Arak in Warlords of Draenor territory. Make your way to the very last boss. Kill it if you really want to, and you should see a console near the edge of the platform. To activate it, click the orb in the middle. A little puzzle will appear which has a set solution. If you want to figure it out for yourself, feel free, but if you want the easy way out, you need to push the 4 orbs around the center one in a specific order. That order is right, up, down, up, right, right, up, left, down, up, left, down. Make sure that double right went in properly. You have to wait a little bit for that one, but after you put the code in properly, a chest should appear right on top of the console which contains the green monocle. I'll have those directions on screen for you just in case. The yellow monocle is hiding inside the Halls of Origination. Work your way through the dungeon until you come to the elevator. When you head north, you should find a passage that leads underneath the elevator with a big glowing orb that you can interact with right in the center. Clicking on that will present you with your next puzzle. Lots of coloured constellations will appear, and with some controllers to go along with them. The goal here is to make every little piece the same colour by using the refractors. The refractors will flip the colour of everything they're pointing at, so you have pluses, crosses, and circles. Play around with them for a bit to see how they work, and then you have the fun task of figuring this entire thing out. There's no set pattern here, and if you use the orb in the middle, you'll reset and change your entire layout, so be careful. I would recommend getting the add-on Hivemind HOO Puzzle Helper. I'll link that in the comment section below, but when you get this add-on, all you have to do is type /HHPH and go throughout the room filling in your colours properly. We had a group of 5, so we split up and covered parts of the room, then gave each other screenshots of the current progress. We filled it in all together, then double checked it before we pressed go on the add-on. If everything was filled out correctly, when you hit go it will tell you how many times you have to push each refractor. If you follow along with the add-on you should have this done pretty quickly. It's just kind of time consuming to fill out the entire add-on and then you have to start all over again if you make any mistakes. When all of the constellations are the same colour, you should see a chest spawn nearby the orb in the middle. Do not click that orb again, or you'll start the entire thing over. Make sure you're hovering over the chest before clicking, otherwise you could waste another 2 hours on this puzzle. That chest contains your yellow monocle. Now the red monocle is a huge time sink, and this is where you will need a lot of patience and preferably an underwater mount. I would honestly recommend doing the Vashj'ir questlines up until getting the Seahorse if you haven't already, because that grants you water breathing and a water mount, which will make this go so much faster. To get this monocle you need to collect a few specific items, which can only be gathered from various vendors. These vendors trade items between each other, so you'll be going back and forth quite a lot. All of these items have a duration. The lesser items which are trading back and forth only have 5 minutes before they delete themselves, so you have to be quick. The important items have 30 minutes or an hour, so if you start this section be sure you're not going to be interrupted at all, otherwise you will literally have to start all over again. All of this part happens in Vashj'ir. There are 9 vendors total involved in this area, and you can see them all marked on the map right now with their appropriate map coordinates. Because every item has a time limit on it, we have to run this very quickly, and unless you're able to do this perfectly, you probably have to do one run at a time, so we're going to go back and forth to the same vendor several times, even though it's going to be very frustrating. So first things first, go to Sir Finley and purchase 580 seashells. Make your way over to the volatile violet scale and exchange 500 seashells for 100 cavity-free shark tooth. Then you need to head on over to Manta Stargazer and exchange those shark teeth for 50 razor-eel larvae. Then head over to Little Whaley and exchange those larvae for 250 well-fed Dr. Fish. Take those fish and find Gloomy Bluefin to exchange your wares for 10 freshly mottled crab skin, and then finally head on over to Old Fish Breath to exchange those crab skins for 50 glitter gill glitter. Right, that's one set done. Next up, take the other 80 seashells over to Gloomy Bluefin and buy 2 giant toenail clippings. Take those over to Little Carp and get yourself 4 Makrura eyes, and then you need to head on over to Volatile Violet Scale and exchange those for 1 accidentally severed seahorse fin. Take that across to the Crimson Anglerfish and get 2 shiny sea serpent scales. I think you're given 3, so don't worry too much about it. Take your serpent scales to Manta Stargazer and get 40 symbiotic plankton. With both the glitter and plankton in your bag, head back to Sir Finley and exchange them for 5 MURLOC skin lotion. That item has an hour duration, so there's a bit of breathing room from here on out. Now I realise that probably took me about 30 seconds to explain, but that's going to take you probably closer to 30 minutes to figure out, so we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, you done? You ready? Cool. Buy another 1800 seashells from Finley and head on out to Old Fish Breath. Trade 300 shells for 30 VANTUS black squid ink and take those over to the Blackfish. Exchange them for 30 super slick eel slime and take that to the Volatile Violet scale. Exchange with our good friend for 3 rock encrusted WHELK shells and head on over to Little Carp and exchange those for 5 potent GASTROPOD GLOOP. That's another important item in the bag. One more to go. Take 1500 seashells to Little Whaley and buy 300 very pretty coral. Then go to Old Fish Breath and trade that for 100 iridescent SHIMMERAY skins. Then to the Crimson Anglerfish to trade for 20 luxurious Luck Scale scales. And then over to the Blackfish to get 5 captured cavitation bubbles. Return to Sir Finley with your bubbles, gloop and lotion and trade them all for the red monocle. So at this point you should have all 4 monocles. Honestly, I'm not too sure if you even need all 4, but now you need to find a full party of 5 players and head on over to Suramar. At the coordinates 4169, you can find a house. Inside and up the stairs there's a door being blocked by 4 beams of light, red, blue, yellow and green. To disable those beams you'll need to find the 4 wizard around Suramar. Each wizard has different coloured eyes and has a name that starts with the same letter as they're coloured. Rikay the red wizard can be found at 7262, Blom and the blue wizard can be found at 4729, Galuzwi the green wizard is around 2046, and Yoralan the yellow wizard is around 4382. These NPCs are friendly until you equip their colour monocle, at which point you can attack them. When these wizards hit 0 health they will start to cast Draw Power, which disables their colour beam in the house. Ideally, you have a full party, one person waiting at the door in the house while the other 4 take one wizard each. When everyone is in position, kill the wizard at the same time so all 4 beams are disabled at once, and your 5th player runs into the room. Once inside the room, that player should be able to see a little cat toy underneath the cushions. When you click on that toy, you get teleported out and are dealt a random amount of damage. Make note of the damage you take. That's your next little clue. Our player was dealt with 51,453 damage, so make a note of it. You need to stay with your group from this point onwards. Head into the Court of Stars dungeon, and you need to make your way through the dungeon until just before the second boss. Around the side of the courtyard, you can find a house with Lady Chaton and 5 adorable little kittens. You need to pet these kittens a specific amount of times, which is dictated by how much damage your house player took when touching the cat toy. So for our example, we had the numbers 51453 to work with. Those numbers refer to specific cats. The first cat is Mrs. Fluffy Muffins, the second cat is Shadow, then Mew, then Ash, and Bella is last. So with our number, we had to pet Mrs. Fluffy Muffins 5 times, Shadow 1 time, Mew 4 times, Ash 5 times, and Bella 3 times. The cat gets a buff each time you pet it, so just make sure that each cat has the right number of stacks of that buff at the same time. If you were given a 4-digit number, assume the first number is 0, so you would pet Mrs. Fluffy Muffins 0 times and go from there. If each cat has the right amount of stacks at the same time, they should open up a little portal thing and an orb will appear. Click on the orb to get teleported to the next area of this puzzle. This next part gets a little complicated, but thankfully the puzzle doesn't seem to change at all, so if you follow along perfectly, it should be fine, fingers crossed. All 5 of you need to hop down onto the ledge where the puzzle takes place. Number yourselves 1 through 5 and keep track of who is what number. We're going to be jumping on platforms, going forward, left, right and backwards, and I'm going to give you all the instructions you need. So if you have everyone in your party pause right before them and play this video at the same time, everyone should hopefully be able to follow the progress together. Okay, are you ready? Let's go. Player 1 needs to jump onto the platform and start the puzzle and then jump forwards. Player 2 needs to jump forward, then left, then forward. Player 1 jumps forward. Player 3 jumps forward, forward, right, right. Player 4 jumps forward, then left. Player 5 jumps forward. 2 jumps left. 4 jumps forward. 2 jumps left, 4 jumps left, then forward, 2 jumps forward, then left, 3 jumps back, 5 jumps forward, then right, and right again, 3 jumps forward, 5 jumps forward, 1 jumps right, then forward, 3 jumps back, then forward, then right, 1 jumps forward, then left, 4 jumps forward, 2 jumps backwards, then forwards, 5 jumps forwards, 2 jumps backwards, then forwards, 5 jumps right, 3 jumps forwards, 1 jumps forward, then right, 2 jumps forward, then right, 4 jumps forward, 2 jumps left, then forward. 4 jumps forward, 1 jumps right, then forward, 3 jumps left, 4 jumps forward, 3 jumps forward, then forward, 5 jumps forward, 1 jumps left, 4 jumps right, 5 jumps left, 2 jumps forward, 4 jumps forward, 5 jumps forward, then forward again, 1 jumps forward, 3 jumps left, 5 jumps right, then forward, 4 jumps forward, 1 jumps right, 5 jumps left, 1 jumps forward, 2 jumps forward, 3 exits their platform entirely and gets sent back to the start, 3 then jumps onto the far left platform and jumps forward, 2 jumps forward, 3 jumps forward, then forward and forward again, 2 jumps back, 4 jumps right, 5 jumps forward, 2 jumps forward, then right, then forward, 3 jumps forward 4 times. And at that point you can all exit your platforms and be safely on the other side. Hopefully. That was incredibly long-winded, and I'll make sure it's all on screen for you to follow along with as well, just in case my directions got you a little lost. And after that's over, everyone needs to run to the door together, which should become clickable and open. This is the very last puzzle in this little series, and it's not too difficult, but it does require a bit of trial and error. Each member of your party has been marked, and only certain combinations of your party can move across this floating shadow disc to make it safely to the other side. Failed combinations will get dropped off halfway through and you'll be teleported back. So here's one easy way to figure this out. Your players are marked A, B, C, D or E, and you need to figure out who player A is and then who B and C are before you can do anything else. Player A should be able to travel across with anyone else, so just 2 at a time. So just keep putting 2 players on at a time until you figure out the one person who works with everyone else. Only one set of 3 players will be able to cross together at the same time as well, so you need to figure out who they are next. That's going to be player A plus B and C. When you have that figured out, you're all set to finish the puzzle. I'll drop a visual aid to help with this one. For the most part, players B and C can be interchanged, and D and E can also be interchanged. You just need to give each player a letter so we can do this nicely. And obviously B and C are the only 2 who can go over in a trio with player A. The rest of you will just get kicked off. So to start off, you'll need to send players A, B and C. Player C gets off on the other side while A and B come back. Player B gets off at the start and A and D go over. Player D gets off and A and C come back. Player B gets on with A and C and all 3 go over. Player C gets off, A and B go back. Player B gets off while player E gets on and goes across with A. Player E gets off and C gets on to go back with A. And player B gets on and all 3 go across to the finish line. With that puzzle done and dusted, all that's left is to walk towards the door and claim your prize. Each player needs to stand in one of the marked locations and click on the Hivemind Mount. After a brief channeling period, you should all be rewarded with the mount. Congratulations, your very own brain jellyfish mount thing, which can carry around another 4 players. Some of these puzzles were pretty awesome, and it took the secret hunting community quite a while to crack some of them. None of this would be possible without the WoW Secrets Discord. The sheer number of people contributing to breaking this thing wide open is crazy. Major kudos to you wonderful folks. I'd like to say a personal thank you to Ty, Deli and Toaster for sticking with Nadara and I throughout this little adventure. We may have spent a little too long in Halls of Origination, and I know I slowed us all down by not having an underwater mount, but we made it in the end. I hope you can all find the time to work through these puzzles and find a group to get the last leg of it done without too many issues. I do wonder though, how much of this can we skip? Do you need all 4 monocles if you only need to equip 1 for each wizard? Does that mean one player doesn't need any monocles at all if they're the one going into the room? I wonder if we can even repeat some of these puzzles to help friends get their mount. So many questions, I hope we can find the answers. But that's it for the Hivemind Mount Secret Guide, and let me know if you have any issues with any specific part, and I'll try my best to help out where I can. What do you think of this little treasure hunt? Did you follow along with the Discord as it was making progress, or are you coming in at the end just for solutions? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.